I'll bring in Oliver Farry from our International Affairs Desk. Oliver, great to see you. Now, this conflict in Sudan, tomorrow will be 2 weeks that it's been going on. It seems to have flared up rather suddenly, this tussle between the RSF and Sudan's army. Are we beginning to understand more on why?
Well, at a fundamental level, it's an old-fashioned power struggle. The Rapid Support Forces are a paramilitary group that has been fighting more or less on behalf of the Sudanese army in an outsourced sense, particularly in the conflict in Darfur. Indeed, it sprung initially from the notorious Janjaweed militia that has been accused of widespread human rights abuses in the Western province over the past 2 decades. The army wants to integrate the RSF into the regular forces. This is not going down well. We have to remember that both the army and the RSF, they're not simple defence forces, but they have extensive economic interests, like in other countries that have influential militaries, such as Egypt and China. Sudan's army is practically an economy in itself, while the RSF controls many of Sudan's gold mines. Much of this gold, the gold it produces, is shipped to the United Arab Emirates for refinement. This would suggest that the UAE has an interest in the RSF keeping alive, though there's no real concrete evidence of involvement in this conflict. There's also a Libyan angle. Our colleagues at RFI have published an article highlighting the visit of Libyan Field Marshal Khalifa Haftar to Sudan the day before fighting broke out on April 13th. Haftar met with RSF leader Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, also known as Hemeti, and it's suspected he may have divulged information to Hemeti regarding a possible move by the army. Haftar is also accused of helping train RSF forces assisted by the Russian mercenary group Wagner. This loops back to the United Arab Emirates, which, according to the US Department of Defense, has provided financing for Wagner's operations in Libya. Other countries in the region also have an interest in Sudan, but they support the military. They are Egypt and Saudi Arabia. The initial spark for this violence was an attack by the RSF on the Marawi military base on April 13th. At the time, Egyptian soldiers were stationed there. They were conducting military exercises with their Sudanese counterparts.
Now it's in the past few days, we've seen the great lengths foreign states have gone to get their nationals out of Sudan. But it seems the Sudanese people have not been so lucky with all these embassies that have closed. Some locals have ended up trapped.
Yeah, many foreign residents in Sudan were brought to safety by Western countries. But there has been criticism of the way that some countries had left Sudanese citizens high and dry. The UK was criticised for really only airlifting its own citizens and family members who had a valid visa for the United Kingdom. This meaning that some people were inevitably left behind. The closure of Western embassies has also left some locals in the lurch. The Irish Times reports that the Sudanese filmmaker Ahmad Mahmoud had been trying to get to Europe to attend a number of film festivals. One of those countries was Sweden, and when it closed its embassy in Khartoum, he was unable to retrieve his passport, where it had been remaining as visa applications were pending. Other Sudanese are in a similar predicament. The Sudanese newspaper editor Wasil Ali highlighted this on Twitter. He asked the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs to clarify what could be done for Sudanese people whose passports were tied up. The response was fairly jarring, having the air of a boilerplate response, advising Mr. Ali to apply for a new passport with your local authorities. He wasn't actually asking on his own behalf. And of course, it's fairly difficult to get a new passport when a country is at war. And to add insult to injury, the embassy managed to get Wasil Ali's name wrong in its very, very cursory response.